Oh! Andy versus Joe.
Round one. Fight!
In the early 1990s, the versus fighting market was getting very competitive and the action was fierce, especially when it came to the rivalry that was forming between SNK and Capcom. Capcom had been the de facto yardstick in recent years, with Street Fighter II sitting high on top of the mountain, but SNK were edging closer and closer and were making strides in their attempt to dethrone them. When Fatal Fury was released, it kinda got lost in all the hype that was created by Street Fighter II, but SNK just dusted themselves off and released Fatal Fury 2, which had an improved roster of characters, improved fight mechanics and slicker graphics. Unfortunately for them, Capcom had released an enhanced version of Street Fighter 2 that allowed for all the characters to be playable, and SNK took note and quickly updated Fatal Fury 2 to do likewise, and this one was called Fatal Fury Special. It features many of the same graphics and gameplay, although some slight changes were made to the system, including faster game speed and an all-new combat system. Unlike the previous Fatal Fury games, Special allows the player to combine their attacks. When an attack lands, the player will have a brief moment of invincibility. The number of line move attacks have also increased. Pressing the light punch or light kick button while the opponent is on an opposite line will perform a low line jump attack. The single player mode has the player fighting all of the playable characters, beginning with the 8 regular characters from the previous game, as well as Tongue and Duck, with the player given a choice in their first opponent. After the first 10 opponents, the player will fight against Billy, Axel, Lawrence, Geese and Krauser, in that order. Other enhancements included extra colour schemes for every character, new and improved background graphics, and also Dolby Surround support where possible. Given the game series was already well established by this point, Fatal Fury Special had already developed a loyal following of players, and Fatal Fury Special had become quite the hit for SNK. In fact, in 1994, it was only outsold by Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo X and Virtua Fighter. Some members of the gaming press even stated that SNK were close to overtaking Capcom as the premier maker of fighting games, with this release and the release of Art of Fighting 2 in 1994. But to me, Fatal Fury was always a follower of Street Fighter 2, but that didn't make it a bad game at all. Fatal Fury Special is a very polished game by SNK and a serious alternative to Street Fighter, and in my opinion, it is still a million miles better than Mortal Kombat, which was considered by many to be Street Fighter's closest rival. The roster of characters is impressive, and SNK followed the same ethos as Capcom when it came to character design. For Street Fighter 2, it was important to Capcom that none of the characters have CPU-only moves. The CPU had to control them with the same arsenal of moves as a player would, and Fatal Fury Special stuck to this principle. In terms of playable characters, this game had a far more impressive roster than Street Fighter II at the time, with 15 selectable characters and an extra hidden character, bringing the total to 16. 4 more than in Street Fighter II Champion Edition. And unlike Champion Edition, all of the characters had a decent moveset, so each character was actually worth a shot. The difference this had on the 2-player aspect of the game was huge, and in arcades, Fatal Fury Special was often used in competition nights alongside Street Fighter II Champion Edition. Fatal Fury 2 also introduced SNK's answer to Chun-Li, not just in terms of playability, but in terms of gamer appeal. Chun-Li had become a bit of a pin-up and sex symbol among young, adolescent male gamers, and SNK responded with Mai Shirano, who had something of a bouncy personality, shall we say. What's even more impressive is that Mai Shirano was a sex symbol at about 100 years of age, having made a cameo in Samurai Showdown as well. One of the things that Fatal Fury was noted for was the ability to jump in and out of the foreground and the background during fights, and this feature is back, unfortunately. It was kind of novel, but also kind of pointless as well. But it did show off the sprite scaling capability of the Neo Geo, I guess. The game plays a little better than Fatal Fury 2, but it plays a lot better than Fatal Fury, with more crisp responsiveness controls, although it does retain the same difficult to execute moves at times. But it's like any of those versus fighters, the more you play, the better you become. The visuals had been given a small tweak over Fatal Fury 2, but again, a massive improvement was obvious over the original, especially with the backgrounds. But this was to be expected from a 150 megabit cartridge, almost 3 times the size of the original. The presentation of the game is a little dull though. The screen between bouts look like they should be from some kind of RPG, as opposed to being in a fighting game. And then the background at that bit looks like some kind of 1970s wallpaper with the logo spread all over it. I think they could have also have added in a little something else at the versus screen as well. This black background makes the thing look incomplete, and the taunts are not as memorable in this version. Fatal Fury had some brilliant taunt messages in my opinion, but Fatal Fury Special doesn't. They feel very reminiscent of the mid-80s WWF wrestling taunts or something. The sound is again excellent. I haven't played many Neo Geo games that had terrible sound, and by now the sound of all the thumps, bumps, punches and kicks were all very familiar to arcade gamers. The music is superb in the game. The game has loads of great sounding tunes and the music never stops between bouts, so at least you get to hear a lot of the tunes in this game. And the music for Krauser is just sublime. Classical music is not to everyone's taste, but this rendition of Desiree on the Neo Geo is absolutely superb, and the music lends itself really well to the combat.
Okay. Round 2. Fight.
At the time I seen this game in arcades, the whole place was busy with all manner of versus fighters, and having developed a taste for the genre, I would often try other versus fighters. Having played the original Fatal Fury and initially being left unimpressed, I was reluctant at first to give this a go, but one day I decided, what the heck. And after playing Street Fighter 2, it took a few goes to get used to the controls. But as I say, the more you play, the better you get, and I started to enjoy this game. The challenge was new. Having to learn new fighters and new attack patterns was part of the fun, and I started to see why it was becoming popular between fighting fans. It didn't do anything better than Street Fighter 2, but what it did do was offer a very, very good alternative. And the other thing it done was start the crossover craze. SNK had made The Art of Fighting the previous year, along with Fatal Fury 2, and so the talk in magazines and schools was all about, would any of the other SNK fighters appear in other games? Well, in Fatal Fury Special, they do. If you are lucky or skilled enough to go through the entire game without registering a single loss, then you get to fight against Ryo from Art of Fighting. And the first time I heard this, I thought someone was winding me up. But then I seen a screenshot of the two of them pairing off in a magazine, and I still couldn't believe it. I had to try this for myself. But Fatal Fury Special was such a tough game that it wasn't anything I seen done at the time, and I wasn't good enough to do it. But by the summer of 1994, everyone got to see for themselves firsthand that the crossover did exist when SNK released King of Fighters 94. Around the summer of 1995, I managed to get Fatal Fury Special for £35 from an import video game store in Glasgow. A bargain, I thought, and I get to increase my Neo Geo collection. And when I got it home, I played it religiously to improve my skill, so I could try and see this real crossover for myself. And after about 6 months of daily playing, I finally done it. And I was pretty chuffed with myself. It was nice to know all the stories I had read were true, even if it was a year too late. Fatal Fury Special was SNK's answer to Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, no doubt, but it was also the birth of the crossover, and it was with that secret bout that SNK finally started to show that they were a credible threat to Capcom's dominance. And that was my look back at Fatal Fury Special. If you like this video, then please do give me a sub and a thumbs up, or maybe even a comment or two below about your memories of Fatal Fury Special. And a massive thank you to all of those who have subscribed to my channel and commented on my videos. Your feedback and support really does go a long way in helping the channel grow, and I do appreciate all of the comments and support. So it's a massive thank you from me. And that's all from me, folks. Thanks for watching.
Okay. Hey, リチャード、どんどん持ってきてくれ。腹が減って仕方がねえぜ。